expectations we could do next week.
Okay. Something great, no?
Our greatest strength.
Oh, greatest strength. Well, I said expectations are strength. Okay, greatest strength. Which is our greatest expectation. Okay, I'm quiet.
So there is really an interesting polarity there between expectation and strength. Actually,
There's a polarity there?
yeah.
Oh, shit.
A state of expectation is not a very strong position to be in. So when we go into a meditation and we're expecting to have an experience, the first thing we're going to move into is an experience of expectation. And then out of that we begin to search, where's the experience then? Where's the happening? Where's the big thing point of doing this in the first place? And if we keep searching, at a certain stage we get to, what am I doing here? Where am I in general? Where am I? And maybe somewhere along the way of this searching comes forward an experience, so it's, okay, an experience which will be born of expectation. And then after the meditation we can tell our experience that says something about us, and try and understand it, and analyze it, and rate it against the other experiences that we've had. Did I get somewhere? Was it a breakthrough? All of this is dancing, in a way, around our greatest strength. It's missing it. There is something happening now globally to do with awakening. Probably there's really good socio-psychological reasons for it. There's 7 billion people on the planet. It's crowded like hell. Western individuality is like a must to be an individual. We're all born with this intuition, this deep sense of being really special. There's something really special in us, which is entirely true, but not how it's sold to us. Not how it's given to us as an agenda that we have to fulfill this specialness in a particular way in order to accomplish success as a human right now. There's 7 billion of those specials. So there's this thing happening which is like a crisis of identity, a crisis of individuality, where people wake up. They become like, suddenly they let go of their individual story and they see, oh wow, it's actually, we're sharing the same consciousness. There's a kind of unity, a non-duality. Wow, I'm not an island. Voila. My thoughts are just my silly little thoughts. They don't say anything about me. This awakening thing. And out of this grows a whole industry of teachers to awaken you. And there's a whole lot of people who feel, oh, bugger, I'm not awakened yet. I didn't get it yet, this awakening. This one and this one and this one, they're awakened. And they would these days call it enlightened. So everyone's enlightened except me. It's a whole industry feeding off this product called awakening and enlightenment, which is, in many ways, absolutely no different than McDonald's, or the next fashion, or having the lavender essence inside your perfume from L'Oreal, because that makes it natural and organic. The missing link with this whole awakening thing, there are two major missing links. The first is that I'm quite sure that just about every person on the planet is awakened. They just don't know it. They just didn't think it was anything special. They come into their conscious minds as a 2-year-old. They look around. Suddenly it's like, whoa, I'm here with here's my mummy, and she's not the same as me. Oh, here's my first day at school. There is a degree of awakening experience all over the place. Not one experience, but constantly. You get a shock. You get lost in the dark, driving in the rain. It's like, wow, here I am driving lost in the rain. How did I come to be here in this place and this time? And there's something surreal, almost as if we're visiting it ourselves. We know it, and it's always in the here and now. It's always this kind of moment of like, switch from by whatever means. It can be a shock, or it can be just boredom of like regular routines, and suddenly there's something cracks in a state. But it's a switch of a habitual pattern, which allows for a moment for the light to shine through. It's like, wow. It can be anger, it can be pain, it can be disappointment. Well, everybody's awakened, but what's missing then? So much of the way spirituality is treated is that we confuse the effect with the cause. So in an awakening, what do we have? We have some kind of an expansion, or something breaks open, like life. Oh, I'm alive. Or consciousness. Wow, I'm conscious that I'm conscious. Or the heart. I don't hate this person, actually. I love him. The heart breaks open. There's a flow which is shifted. It's actually a kind of breakage. And this breakage, which allows the expansion, there's something that happens before that. And this is the bit which is the most important. This fall that happens before the breakage, or that creates the breakage. And this fall, you could only really ever call it a fall to a deeper reality. Something becomes more for real, a deeper reality. What's real? What's real? Enough of this shit. What's real? Bam, 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 busy mind, da, 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 da. What's real? You look inside. What's real? What's real? What's real? What's always real? This one, this place where you suddenly always have been there, no matter what. Real is the one that triggers the awakening of consciousness, or the awakening of, or the spread of awareness, or the dissociation from the thinking mind, or from the beliefs. It's the fall to that which is always there. For some people, it can look like almost an enormous cynicism. When people are cynical, I like that. It's like, go all the way with the cynicism. There's something very for real in being cynical. Not this, 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 not this. But if you go all the way, you get to the, then what? What's still here? If you reject absolutely everything. When we really crash and our ideas seem useless, our passion falls away, our bank manager is calling, our friends betray us, our parents are shitheads, we don't want to be here in this country. When everything falls down and we get to the bitterness, continue walking through it, and we make that move inside, there's this aspect which has always been there. It's been there when we were in love, when we were happy, when we were at the party, when we were at the bar mitzvah when we were 13, when we were a little child. It's always been there. It never changed. It's not a spiritual accomplishment. It's totally given. It's always here. It's not something that we have to work for or prove ourselves for. The only thing about it is that we can't get away from it. It's always here. We're always here. The same one. The same one will be there, will be with us If we go totally insane, we'll still be there. It's still there. On the other side of all of our fears, it's still there. If we get Alzheimer's disease, like Bart's mother, she's still there. It is still there. Her mind is literally decomposing. And it is almost more there than ever. And it's not feelings. It's not that she's in a bubble of love, or it's something very, very, very strong, like a rock, or like physical matter. But it's not physical. It's not physical because our physical bodies are changing all the time. It's so commonplace, so known to us, so utterly, in a way, boring, that you can think it's nothing. That's nothing. I want the consciousness. I want this elated feeling. I want the enlightenment. I want to be the light. It's not the light. It's not light. You can't see it. Because anything that you see is not it, because you're seeing it. Even when you go into the deepest sleep, you go there. And you come out. It's always there. It's, and this we can feel intuitively, has always been there even before we were conceived. And it's not something which is, a visitor or a higher self or an extra soul or a soul or a spirit. All of that is happening as well. But this one never moves. It never happens. It's not a state of stillness. It's what is the same, totally the same, at the depth of who we are, in a state of stillness, or in a drunken stupor. It's the same one as that. This is so grounded and so for real and so commonplace and so under the nose and so in every single thing we can see or feel as well. It's always there. It's through and it's in it. There is no outside of this. It's so utterly obvious that we don't step back into it. We don't rest in it. We don't consolidate ourselves in that. Instead, we kind of ride these waves, these unstable waves of emotion and feeling and thinking and agenda, getting somewhere or being somewhere, but this one never actually moved. When you travel, you get on the plane at Ben Gurion, you fly to Ethiopia, you arrive in Addis Ababa. All this traveling happened, but it didn't move a millimeter. And the incredible thing is at airports you see thousands of travelers. And it is there in unity among all of them. And they all have separate individual purpose and agenda and plane tickets and suitcases and where they're going and who they are and what they've been. You can literally stand on the balcony of an airport and watch hundreds of them, all thinking they're separate. And that is utterly common in every one of them. And it's the core of who they are. Each one of them. It's like, it's so much at the core of who they are, you can miss it because it doesn't look individual. It's not private. It's not private, but we treat it as our most intimate, deepest, secret resource. It's the place when everything breaks, we fall back to. It's home. So it's at the same time, it's at the source and gut and heart of individual specialness. It's at the same time completely one with everybody else's source. And with trees and flowers and animals and the water and the earth. It's really not separate from anything. Because one trait you tend to see in this new age business is the humanification. It's like human racism. It's all about human. Everything depends on the human. Human, 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 human. The whole of creation is organizing itself around human consciousness. It's human-centric. It's insane. It's long ago science discovered that actually the world, the universe is not spinning around us. But still, our spiritual philosophy is suggesting that. Because we can feel the unity. But the unity doesn't mean that there's exclusivity in any form. Not our individual form, not even the human form. There's not superiority to animals and trees, and there's not inferiority. It's just the same thatness, that source. So it's really a kind of insanity that when we take all the conditions of our life and all the conditions of our spiritual process and all the conditions of everything that's happened and everything that we feel and everything we think, we get this. It's really ironic that we're not curious. What's this? What's this which is always there, a continuum, always, always, always constant, at the gut of who we are, which is always there for us, which always is us. This should be the beginning of self-exploration, not the end point. And it is the beginning of self-exploration in a way. But it's, at first, can feel like a hard nut that you stand near as a choice. You withdraw the troops from being engaged in all of these operations whenever it's possible, and you stand there, and because you can't see it, because at the same time you are it, you begin to see its effect, the effect of moving back to the gut of what's in you, which never changes. And the effects are quite amazing. And that's the beginning of self-discovery, in a way, for real, the for real thing. If ever it's excluded, if ever there's a feeling that it's excluded, then we lost connection with it. Or something is excluded, like ISIS, or rapists, or... So it's quite a process as well, because there's so much we want to reject that we see in ourselves. In the end, it's in ourselves. So this meditation is going to work with two aspects of what that isn't. Because that's the way. You can't move to that with only by... You can't even give words to it. Because you are it. It can't be described. But you can say what it's not. Very easily. Anything you think or feel or see that it thinks or feels or sees or experiences is really not it. It's happening within it, it's out of it, but it's not it. It is the one that sees or feels or experiences. So the two factors where it exists but is where it gets blinded, where that gets blinded, is time and space. In the belief that we're held in time, and the belief that we're constrained in space. So it's a natural belief from the physical dimension, that this, what we are, is going to end when we meet our end, when we get off the bus, when we snuff it. I'm not going to say when we're 80, because some of us might die before, but at the end of our lifetime, we have this limited amount of time, and we identify with that. We have this portion of time, and that's it. This is one of the beliefs. Time is limited. But time, you can never grasp it, of course. It's never... You want it to last, but it goes so fast, and before you know it, you're 50, and nothing actually moves, but you wake up again, and this elusive thing called time, where the only grounded thing you can find in it is the physical body's aging. Or the development of knowledge. And space. So we have our physical space. The physical body, again, gives us a physical space. The rest is a belief. It's really a belief. We have mental space, but mental space is, of course, a belief. How could it be not a belief of mental space? The space that we think we can take. The degree to which we let ourselves expand. So, it's not kind of way out there to move behind time and space. We do it constantly. We're constantly already there. It's not just there. We're already here. It's given. All we're doing is affirming it to begin to consolidate a degree of freedom from everything that's unstable and coming and going and changing. Because the more consolidated we're in that which never comes and goes and changes shape, the more free we are to enjoy everything that comes and goes and changes shape. It's that simple. It becomes free. The more our physical bodies can learn to recognize this as our strength and our safety, which it is. It is because whether or not we want it, whether or not we do any meditations, we always fall back. It never goes. We couldn't get free of it if we wanted to. This existential factor. So, we start the meditation at the ID point. We move down to the left shoulder, to the right shoulder, and up to the ID. Make a triangle. And then, it's a little bit complicated. We move from the left shoulder. The left shoulder is not just the left shoulder. We're building a triangle, which is nice, but the left shoulder, you might at any stage get pulled in to a dimension or an experience. And if that happens, go with it. But try not to attach to whatever's happening and to softly, if possible, to move to the right shoulder, because there's a balancing effect, which is quite important. And then we take 2 lines down to the bottom of the sternum, the first depression point in the healing courses, Maftecha left. It hurts when you press it. When somebody's unconscious, you want to see if they're unconscious, you schnack them here. If they're faking, they wake up.
I remember that happens so often that I'm with unconscious people.
I do it to myself regularly, you know. Then, at this point, we kind of try and release everything and really try and become the point. Try and replace our senses into the point. Feel what's there. Look from there. We have our eyes closed, but in a way you can open your eyes there. Listen from there. And when I say feel from there, I'm not talking astral, I mean feel the bone. See if you can make a feeling connection with your own. This is one of the most center nerve points of the body, so it's kind of nice that we can actually feel what it's like, because that's part of this body that we're surviving in. It's kind of curious also just to feel this, even if you use your fingers, to feel the kind of miracle of this physical location. You know, most of the time we're out here, you know, hey, whoa, you know, I'm in a bone. And then we're going to use memory. And memory should never be underestimated. In a way, every memory of every experience is creating the opening for that. Why does memory create the opening for that space which never changes? Because then you were that, and now you're this, and then you were like this, and then you were angry, and then you were sad, and it brings it brings forward the changingness, the transience, the instability. So we use memory to recall a time of how it felt to be you. A time that you were really awake. It can be when you were a child, but not a chronological memory, like this happened and this happened. How did it feel? Wow, my name's Tammy. And you can take a few memories. Wow, I just moved into my new house. Take some landmarks of time and try and access that which is always here. Through every one of those landmarks, which is always the same, and which is here right now in the meditation also. try and move to that space in you which is behind the time, behind the memories. So it's coming into the now as if, but it's not, it's more coming into timelessness. Because the now is quite a mental thing, past, present, future, now. The now. Now is to do with jumping the present and future. That's more a very worthwhile thing to do with the mind. And if we get caught in our minds, we can do that too. But here, what you're doing is going into timelessness in how it feels. How does it feel to allow that one in you, which is the same one in you as yesterday, or when you were driving here, which is the same one in you that was in Ethiopia, or that was here last week, the same one, the one that never changed. And try and blend with that. Allow it. Sit in it. Sit in this timeless one. This one that never changed. The same one that will be there on your deathbed. The same one that's always going to be there. The time is not affecting. Then we're going to move up to the point in the dip here, at the middle of the collarbone, and create a triangle to a point above the ear. Belief systems.
Oh, that.
Yeah, this one. This point, just touch it. The point on the other side. We move from the left to the right. And back again to this place. Build another triangle. And here, we're going to use again the memory of an experience of being unconfined by space, where we felt ourselves to be suddenly boundless, where the borders broke down. Like when you go to another country and at first it's like a culture shock, and there's us and them, and there's a division, and suddenly there's a wholeness, a oneness, where some kind of boundary of space where we keep ourselves energetically in a space collapses, or it can be the memory of an experience in meditation, of expansion, of infinity. It can be any kind of spiritual experience, but it's just experience, where we experienced the kind of breakdown of space. So it can be a psychic thing. Or it can just be in real time to just try to expand beyond into infinity. And the moment we stop expanding, then we have the idea of space, and then we can see, okay, part of me stopped, but I'm also existing infinitely on the other side, so that we can kind of make our borders relative. So we have this triangle, we have this triangle. And then, towards the end, with the music, what we can do is let the two triangles come into a Star of David. Invite that to happen. And move this up to the focus, which is between the ID. And let it do what it wants. It can go up to the ID and out, but release it completely and wait. At any stage, and this is the trick, this is the real trick, at any stage that it becomes trippy, it's like, oh, I'm in a meditation, my one is expanding, I'm feeling timeless and aware, drop it. Really drop it. Come into the regular you, the you that you know, in the room with your eyes closed, here now. Just drop it and then see what happens next. Because we're not looking for the experience, we're looking for something that the experience is coming out of. So try not to identify with anything that happens. If it feels all too glidey, like do a Zen trick, hit yourself on the head. Yeah, wake up, I've got to go to the market.